Hello my friends, welcome to another watercolor tutorial. We are painting another flower today, or sorry, not another flower, but another Mother's Day card idea. And it just so happens to be a flower, as Mother's Day cards tend to be. I am really not good at painting flowers. It is one of the things that I struggle with most. And you know, my inclination is to just give up on it, but I think we need to do things that we're not comfortable with a little bit more often. So I'm just mixing a few random greens together to create the green I want, which is supposed to be like more of a bluish green, but you can use whatever green you've got. And actually it'd probably be better to paint the flowers themselves first rather than the foliage. So these are going to be very simple flowers because I am so bad at flowers. So I am just I took pink, but then I had like a bunch of pink tones on my palette, so I just mixed them all together. I will zoom out and let you know what I mean. See, I just had a bunch of random pinks and I just combined it all. I'm trying out this random brush that I have from Grabby. It's massive. It's like the biggest one I have. I don't think it's gonna work for this purpose, honestly, but I'm just gonna give it a try. Boop, 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 boop. So, okay, my initial feeling is incredible frustration. I almost wish that I had painted this on the wrong side of the paper so that I could start over. That was a mistake to use that brush. So I'm just gonna pick up different brush here and try that one more time. I'm gonna try making a smaller one over here. What is that even? Oh my god. Sorry guys, I am not having a good stretch with these flower tutorials recently. That looks so bad. What even is that? I'm gonna keep going. I'm going to try and salvage this, mostly because I don't feel like getting another piece of paper. And I'm just trying a bunch of random brushes until something sticks. But wow, this is incredibly frustrating. I'll have another butchered flower over here. We are gonna try and fix these flowers in a moment. I'm going to do something a little bit with them, a little different. Is this still wet? A little bit. Okay, I do want to add a little bit of like a darker, actually even a little bit of a maroon or red or whatnot to the center here and see what happens. Sometimes when you add like darker pigments, they spread out and end up looking really nice. This one's a little dry, so I could not take advantage of that feature, I guess you could say. I am gonna take orange maybe, or brown. Yeah, orange and brown, mix the two together and just add a touch of that in the center where there is no paint, like it's just on the paper. And I intentionally left that there for that purpose. This one doesn't really have that, so. Okay. The other thing I want to do, because these just look quite bad, like the petals themselves look really bad, I'm going to add like little pink offshoots, but delicate ones, to try and add a little bit of gentleness to this painting. There's probably a better word for what I'm trying to describe. But see, that does help it, in my opinion. You might still think that this looks horrible. I do not blame you if that's what you think. But I think that it is helping it a little bit. It's kind of distracting the viewer from the painful looking petals. So I'm just applying that in between. In between the other petals there. So we've already helped this, in my opinion, quite a bit with those few additions. I just keep going in with a little bit of like darker brown or black or whatever and adding it to, oh shoot. Oh my gosh. Just when things were going a little bit better, they had to get worse again. Sorry, I had too much water on my paintbrush and it fell and kind of spread out and washed all the beautiful details that I had applied. And I'm sure you guys can imagine how frustrating that is. The other thing, I did this on a previous tutorial, is I should water it down even more than this, the pigment there, and just painting these light hairline, thick lines on the petals themselves. And it kind of adds a little bit of contrast with the flatness. Okay, but this one's still wet, so I have to wait a little bit. This one was dry, but these guys are still wet, so I'll wait to do that. While I'm waiting to do that, I'm gonna paint the greenery around this, but I first want to pencil in mom, the word mom, so that I ensure that I have room for it. I don't like how that looks. I like to always, oh, there goes my eraser. I like to pencil in my words exactly for the reason that if I don't like it, I can always erase it and try again. So that looks, I think, okay. It'll do. And then I can fill that in later. But I just wanted to have that there as a placeholder before I paint the green foliage. So I am going to just have the green coming out of in between some petals. Like, you can just have it where it naturally works for your painting. And I'm trying to use the technique where you kind of press down in the middle and then lift off again. I'm not the best at this technique, and it might be my brush, or it just might be my lack of skill. Because I've seen people do it in tutorials and it looks so good and so effortless, and then mine just looks like this. So I don't quite like the shade of green that I have though. I want to be darker and have a bit more yellow in it. So do. I like this shade much more. And you can add thin lines coming from your foliage just to add some more delicate details, like so. I really like those delicate hairlines that I add. It amplifies the painting. Okay, we have a little bit more room on this side to play with the greenery. You could just add like another flower there if you wish. In my opinion, adding foliage amplifies any floral painting. But maybe it's just because I'm not very good at flowers, and I am a lot better at like detailed brush strokes like these ones. Okay, I think my daughter's getting hungry, so I'm gonna have to finish this one up. So what I wanted to do still is add those delicate like lines on top of our petals here that I mentioned. Now that this should be dry. So I want a little bit. I'm taking like this darker color for those hair-like details, and I'm adding those from in between some of the petals, and I'm overlapping some of that onto the other flowers. I quite like that. when I do that, it kind of makes me look like it makes it look like a hibiscus type of flower from Hawaii. But I do want to add just those simple lines as well on my flower petals. And the other thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just add this little black dots again to the center here. And I'm gonna add a little bit of the maroon plum pink as well. Actually, I'm just gonna maybe sprinkle some of that on as well. That's not working. I know I'm using a liner brush, which is not doing the job. Obviously, it's a liner brush. So I'll just manually add little speckles in. Okay, so that's all right. I know I wasn't gonna add any more stuff, but now that I look at this, I can't help myself. I mixed in a little bit of black to my green that I used for the foliage, and I'm just going over some of the petals just to give the viewer a little something extra to look at. Okay. And we can finally add, or like finish off the mob, so we can write, make that darker. And I'm gonna leave it at that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Please let me know what you think in the comments. It ended up turning out not that bad despite my initial worry at the beginning. So let me know what you think. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next tutorial.